Hello, welcome to Hobby Chat with Adam's Hobby Stuff. So today I thought I'd talk about Novelty Warhammer and show you a little novelty project I'm currently doing at the moment for some Christmas baubles, and then I'll show you what I've spent my hobby money on in the last 7 days. So what's made me think about Novelty Warhammer? Well, partly because I'm doing a little novelty project myself, and partly because there's a lot of it in the media at the moment. You see on social media and things sharing the very random Christmas things that Games Workshop's putting out. Now, my first experience with Games Workshop doing something other than their kind of core models was back in '98. I was working part-time at a Games Workshop while I was at university, and that's when Forgeworld started. So at the same time-ish as the launch of 3rd edition 40k, I think it was '98 when it came out, Forgeworld burst onto the scene with initially Lehman Russ bits and guard bits and that type of thing to expand your guard army. And it was very exciting. People were getting very frothy over it, really keen on picking up these new things. And that started really the ball rolling with Games Workshop doing stuff other than core Warhammer. And over the next few years we saw the big expansion of Black Library. We saw the link together with Bulldog Buckles, doing Aquila buckles and things. And as someone working in the stores at the time, it was quite interesting because they ran promotions, Skulls promotions I think it was called. We got little stickers you could collect in store and send off for a belt buckle, send off for a pen, whatever. Remember the Dark Eldar release, the stores got sent a lot of pin badges and things to use. And that started a conversation quite frequently in meetings and things where, are we going to see Space Marine lunchboxes and Space Marine cuddly toys and things? And it was always said, no, that's not us, that's not what we're going to do. Now, we know obviously that's changed over the last few years, so kind of why? I think the attitude to this type of thing in mass market has dramatically changed. Back in the day, Geek Culture wasn't a thing. There wasn't all these hobby shops. There weren't these chibi collectibles and the pop vinyls and all that kind of thing. Just wasn't a thing. Geek Culture was a subculture. It's very much not now, and it's nice to see that it's not now. We can fly our geek flags with pride, and that wasn't something you could necessarily do many a year ago. It was all very sensible collectibles. I've moved house recently. I think I said about 6-7 months ago we moved into a new build house, and it's allowed me to expand my hobby space and dig things out of the loft and the garage that hasn't been on show for years. One of the things I found were these artwork pieces from something called Warp Artifacts that Workshop started in 2001, 2002, offshoot of Black Library. And this really was the tone they set, that it was a case of, no, we're being quite serious. Yeah, we'll have some novelty things, but we want you to be relatively sensible. Now, the artwork's lovely, it is beautiful. And that's kind of the way it stayed. The occasional special figure would come out, but generally it was quite sensible. And that change and the real shift into Novelty Warhammer has happened over the last few years, and not a bad thing actually. And a lot of people are talking about it currently. A friend of mine dropped a post onto Facebook the other day basically saying, look at all this novelty tat, but then, ooh, look what I bought. And that's the point. Hobbyists are collectors. Hobbyists want to get things that excite them and get involved. And really I started thinking about this a week or so ago. We had a Christmas do up in Scotland, travelled up there for a couple of days. Had a very nice meal at the Scotsman hotel bar thing, and we did a Secret Santa. And when you do Secret Santa, you draw a name out of the hat, and quite often, even with people you work with relatively well, you don't know a huge amount about them, or if you do, what you know they're into tends to be very expensive, so you tend to buy a bottle of gin, bottle of whiskey, that type of thing. You get each other. But I got these things, as well as some beer and some other pieces from it, and I was absolutely delighted. Now, for any of you that watch the channel, you know I don't do Warhammer Age of Sigmar whatsoever, so why was I delighted? Well, I was delighted partly because the person who got me this had taken the time to, one, listen to me ramble. I'm quite out and proud about my nerdhood. And then taking the time to go into a Games Workshop. And really there's now an opportunity for someone who has no idea what Games Workshop is to go into a Games Workshop, tell the people in there that they know someone that's into Warhammer and they need to buy them a Christmas gift. I remember that happening loads when I was in stores, and they'd walk in, they're into Warhammer. Well, what are they into? Warhammer. And you had no idea what to sell the person. If it was, my uncle's into Warhammer. Okay, well, do you know what? No. And quite often they'd leave, with some paints or brushes, or you'd try get them something, but there wasn't this opportunity. Now, they walked in, they said they're into Warhammer. They had a look. They went, "Oh, he likes drinking tea. Great, we'll buy him some coasters." And do you know what? I was delighted. Not so much because it was Age of Sigmar, but because really someone had taken that effort to go in. And I will very much use these. I think it's great, and that for me is an absolute win for Games Workshop and for anyone that really wants to buy one of us fellow Warhammer nerds some stuff. Not limited to that though, so I'm doing a couple of geeky projects. Said at the moment I was going to show you what I'm doing at the moment, Novelty project. My current Novelty project, I'm not going to do this as a video on the main video on like a Sunday morning like I normally do, because it's kind of a bit of a sub project just for a bit of fun. So I picked up these from Amazon, Christmas baubles. I'll put a link down below if you want to buy them and you fancy doing the project yourself. And I'm going to do some Warhammer Christmas baubles. Now these things are designed for really pure novelty use, to put random bits of Christmas tat in like you would and do your own baubles with the kids or whatever, but I wanted to do something Warhammery. So here's a finished one. I'll show you a finished one first and then I'll describe the stages while that rolls off the table. So here's a finished one with a 3D printed Father Christmas carrying toilet roll in it. I thought it was very appropriate for the pandemic, as a bit of a reminder of the pandemic. And I wanted to do these really because I've got a bit of a hobby room. You know, I'm going to try and swing it, hanging them on the Christmas tree downstairs, but they'll probably get swiftly removed. But I can decorate my hobby space with a bit of novelty. So what I did is I took half of this, lined it with some cling film, and just put some filler in there to set. And then it was set, took a bit of time, sprayed it up black, painted it like I would a bit of scenery, and just painted the model, glued him in. On here is just some bits of grass tufts and some flock, and done with some snow flock on the top. And look, it's just a bit of fun. Didn't spend a massive amount of time painting it, but it's really going to add a bit of Christmassy theme, and something if your kids were interested in doing maybe a little bit of Warhammer painting, you could do that as a project with your kids. So if you fancy picking them up, you know, it's a good little side to do. Now, I said I'd show a couple of bits. The other one I'm going to do is another one, and I've just embedded here the base for the red gobbo into the base, and I'm partway through painting the red gobbo now, as you'll see, and that really is, again, another piece of Warhammer novelty. And look, it's just a bit of fun, and that's what it boils down to. We can take Warhammer and we can take any hobby a bit too seriously. Really, the Warhammer gifting, the idea of getting an advent calendar with little plastic space marines in it, yes, it's a bit daft, but you know what? It's a bit of fun. We can take ourselves too seriously sometimes. So if you're a fellow Warhammerer, which I imagine you are because you're watching this channel, buy yourself that t-shirt that's got a space marine on it. Pick yourself up your Sigmar coasters, stick them on your desk at work. You know, be proud of our nerdhood, and really just, why not, get stuck in. Remember as a kid I said, when I grow up I want to spend my money on toys and sweets, and you know, I'm succeeding in that generally, so bit of daft. Right, so now let's go on and show you what I spent my hobby money on in the last 7 days after my little ramble about Novelty Warhammer. If you watch the channel, you've seen these, because I've done an unboxing video on Sunday morning when I do my normal videos. So I've picked up the Underhive Market for Necromunda, I've picked up Book of the Outcast for Necromunda, and the cards. I absolutely love Necromunda. It's probably my most played game if I were to add up my years and years of playing. Fantastic system, and watch the channel, there's going to be lots of building Underhive models and that kind of thing, and I'm going to do myself some cast up scratch built scenery and things as well. So that's what I spent my money on hobby wise in the last 7 days. Now if you like this kind of random waffly video, like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube jabs. Check me out on Facebook and Instagram, Adam's Hobby Stuff, and I'll see you on one of the videos soon. Cheers guys.